Chosen one, keep your vigil tonight. You are no ordinary man. You are a warrior who stands firm even when darkness falls, who does not deviate from your path even when storms break. Those who challenged you wanted to see your weakness. They set traps to make you fall. They thought they could silence you, but they do not know you. The moment they thought they could stop you was the beginning of their own downfall. Tonight, quietly remember the strength within you. All those difficulties, all those struggles were not to destroy you. They were to reshape you, to make you stronger. Your enemies are caught up in their own illusions and think they have triumphed, but there is something they do not know. Your story is not over yet. Tonight, keep your eyes open, keep your spirit alive, make your heart unshakable, because the sun that will rise tomorrow will shine for you. And remember, it is your determination that will make you a victor, not against your enemies, but against your inner fears and doubts. So write 777 in the comments now. You are chosen. You are blessed. You are unstoppable. They thought they were erasing the past, reducing their wrongdoings to mere embers and smoke. Frantic hands worked in unison, feeding paper after paper into the consuming glow, their desperation betraying their belief that destruction was the same as absolution. But unseen forces do not forget. A silent presence had already recorded each betrayal, each act of deception, long before the first page touched the flames. They mistook secrecy for safety, but no fire burns hot enough to undo the weight of truth. The tide had already turned, and the balance of fate was shifting. What they failed to understand was simple, yet inescapable. Some things refused to be buried. They thought they were alone in their deception, that no gaze had caught their scheming. No mind had pieced together the pattern of their treachery. But the unseen sees all. The moment of their undoing was not in the fire, nor in the act of destruction. It had already passed the moment their crimes were witnessed. And for the one who had seen, silence was no longer an option. At first, fear whispered a tempting lie. Remain still. Vanish into the night. Let the weight of knowledge dissolve, like mist at dawn. But truth is not so easily cast aside. It lingers. It clings. It demands to be reckoned with. It's like the rising of the morning sun. After the longest night, the light doesn't rush. It doesn't force its way through. But when it comes, it is undeniable. Darkness has no choice but to retreat. The truth is the same way. You can try to bury it, you can try to silence it, you can throw it into the fire, but in the end, it rises. It always rises. And now, the moment stood before them, heavy as the weight of the world itself. A decision loomed, stark and unavoidable. One road led to silence, to slipping back into the background, blending into the crowd, pretending none of this had ever happened. It would be easier that way, safer. No conflict, no risk, just a quiet life away from the eyes of those who would seek to destroy. But the other path, oh, it was no easy road. It was the way of the storm, the place where fire and truth collide, where justice and consequence are woven together like the thunder and the lightning. It was the path of those who refuse to bow, who refuse to be moved, who know that the truth is not something you keep hidden, but something you carry like a torch through the night. The evidence had been reduced to ash, but the truth was still breathing. It lived in the witness, in the knowing, in the undeniable reality of what had been seen. And now, that truth was knocking, demanding to be heard. There was no turning back. The witness stood at the edge of destiny, heart pounding, breath heavy, the weight of what must be done pressing upon their chest. And so, with steady hands and an unshaken heart, the witness stepped forward, not because it was easy, not because it was safe, but because it was right. And when the truth finally spoke, the world would have no choice but to listen. The ones who had orchestrated the destruction had made a fatal miscalculation. They believed the only records that mattered were the ones they could touch, the ones they could burn. But destiny does not operate by such fragile rules. It moves in unseen currents, shifting silently beneath the surface, waiting for the precise moment to strike. The witness would not rush. No rash words, no reckless confrontation. Patience was its own kind of power, and when wielded correctly, it was unstoppable. For now, they remained still, watching, waiting. But justice was not idle, and time was no longer on the side of those who thought themselves untouchable. They basked in their illusion, mistaking destruction for deliverance. The remnants of their deceit lay in smoldering fragments, reduced to dust that the wind carried into the void. In their minds, they had triumphed. The slate was wiped clean, their past rewritten, their misdeeds swallowed by silence. They moved with ease, believing the storm had passed, that they had outmaneuvered consequence itself. Laughter echoed in secret chambers, glasses raised in silent mockery of those who had dared to stand against them. With each step, they reveled in their deception, certain that fate had bent to their will. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. But what they failed to grasp was this. The very foundation upon which they built their false kingdom was cracking beneath their feet. The silence they relied upon was not emptiness. It was a pause before the inevitable shift. They mistook absence for absolution, forgetting that the unseen does not mean forgotten. The weight of their choices had already been measured, and the scales were tilting. There is no such thing as escaping what has already been set in motion. They continued their charade, blind to the unraveling beneath them. Every action they took to secure their power only tightened the invisible noose around them. What they thought was buried was merely waiting for the right moment to surface. They had mistaken fire for finality, yet nothing truly vanishes. The past has a way of clawing its way back to the surface, whispering in the stillness, pushing through the cracks they failed to seal. The reckoning was not loud. It did not arrive in a thunderous collapse, nor was it heralded by sirens. It crept in like the tide, steady and inescapable, eroding the ground beneath them. A detail unnoticed, a word spoken in the wrong ear, a fragment overlooked. All it took was a single misstep for the dominoes to fall. The harder they tried to patch the fractures, the deeper they grew. The tighter they clung to their delusions, the faster they unraveled. And so, they found themselves standing at the edge of their own undoing, watching as the weight of their own deception dragged them under. There was no escape, no negotiation, no second chance. Their downfall had never been a matter of chance. It had always been a certainty. What was stolen must be returned. What was taken in the dark must answer to the light. For those who had once suffered in silence, there was no need for retribution. Justice does not wait for hands to take action. It arrives of its own accord, as steady as the sunrise, as inevitable as the turning of time. The ones who walked through fire and did not burn, who endured without surrendering, who refused to bow to the weight of injustice, these are the ones who rise. They do not need to chase victory. It has already been written. This is not a story for the complacent. It is not a message for those content with shadows. It is for the ones who refuse to be tamed, the ones who feel the pull of something greater, the ones who stand unshaken in the face of storms. While the world clings to illusions, they walk with certainty, unbound, unbreakable, unstoppable. Not for approval, not for validation, but because they know who they are. There are those who refuse to be broken, who take the weight of adversity and forge it into something indestructible. They do not crumble under pressure. They evolve. If this speaks to you, then perhaps you've always known. You were never meant to blend in, never meant to walk an ordinary path. And when the world tried to define you, to contain you, you shattered every expectation. Those who seek more, who crave deeper wisdom and transformation, will always find their way. The doors are open to those who are ready. If you are, you will know where to go. If not, the choice remains yours. For too long, truth remained hidden, locked away behind walls built on fear. The burden of knowing, of carrying a reality that others refused to see, had weighed heavily on the shoulders of the witness. Doubt whispered, urging silence. The enemy had relied on this silence, certain that fear was enough to keep the truth buried. But the moment always comes when the weight of deception collapses under its own gravity. The moment had arrived. The witness, once uncertain, now stood firm. The time for concealment had ended. One voice was all it took to tip the scales. A single step forward, a single truth spoken aloud, and the carefully woven web of lies began to fray. The enemy, once so sure of their invulnerability, now found themselves standing in the ruins of their own design. The past, the very thing they had sought to erase, was now the force pulling them down. Their false foundation cracked, their confidence faltered, their grip on control slipped through their fingers like grains of sand. They had thought themselves architects of fate, yet now they were mere spectators to their own downfall. They watched, helpless, as the tide turned against them. No longer the masters of illusion, no longer shielded by deception. The very forces they had wielded to gain power were now working against them. The shadows they had once controlled now exposing their every move. The witness had spoken, the veil had lifted, and the reckoning had begun. The unraveling was swift. Those who once stood beside them in secrecy now stepped away, unwilling to be caught in the storm. Where once they commanded fear, now they inspired only avoidance. The very power they had fought to maintain had transformed into their greatest weakness. What was once a throne now felt like a trap. What once tasted like victory now burned like poison. The world observed their descent, some with indifference, others with a quiet recognition that justice, though patient, is unrelenting. No force, no lie, no scheme can outlast the certainty of balance being restored. What was stolen finds its way back to its rightful owner. What was hidden finds its way into the light. And those who built their empires on falsehoods always find themselves buried beneath them. Imagine a seed planted deep in the soil, a seed that, in its quiet darkness, gathers strength, nourished by unseen waters and warmed by the gentle glow of morning light. Just as that seed transforms into a mighty oak, stretching its limbs toward the heavens, so too does your spirit grow, in the silence of hardship. In every moment of struggle, in every trial that tests your faith, there is a power quietly building inside of you, preparing you to stand firm and unyielding. Those who have journeyed through life's fiercest storms and come out the other side unbroken were never destined to falter. The forces that sought to diminish you, to shatter your resolve, misinterpreted the very nature of your perseverance. They confused the quiet strength of your inner resolve with defeat, mistaking thoughtful pause for surrender. But my dear friends, let me tell you, true strength is often silent. It waits like the calm before a sunrise, patient and ever watchful, gathering power to rise and transform every obstacle into a stepping stone toward victory. There were times when life tried to overpower you with relentless challenges, when every twist and turn seemed designed to test your faith. Yet you stood, unyielding, not because you shouted your struggles to the world, but because your spirit knew that the most profound battles are won in the quiet moments of reflection and trust. You learned that adversity is not a sign of weakness, but a chance to discover the deep reservoirs of grace and fortitude that reside within your soul. In that sacred space of silence, you found your true power, a power that cannot be measured by the clamor of temporary defeats, but only by the steady, unwavering beat of your heart. Remember, every trial you faced was not an end, but a preparation for a greater destiny. When circumstances pushed you to the brink, you discovered that each setback was, in fact, a setup for something far more glorious. Every moment of betrayal taught you how to discern the genuine from the counterfeit. Every delay served as a gentle reminder that divine timing orchestrates the unfolding of your life. The challenges that seemed insurmountable were only fleeting moments in the grand tapestry of your existence. In time, the truth of your resilience would shine through, as undeniable as the light of day. The naysayers and adversaries may have believed they held the power to control your destiny, yet they failed to see that the might of the human spirit is anchored in something far greater than their fleeting influence. Their attempts to crush you were based on a shallow understanding of force, mistaking temporary silence for permanent defeat. But you see, real strength does not need to announce itself with a roar. It is the quiet, steady pulse of determination that beats within you, unshakable and enduring. It is the whisper of hope that echoes in the stillness, reminding you that every hardship is but a chapter in the story of your triumph. In the midst of life's challenges, when the weight of the world pressed upon your shoulders, you may have felt that the enemy had the upper hand. They planned their moves in the shadows, expecting that your silence would signal surrender. They believed that by keeping you quiet, they could ensure that their deceptions would prevail. But the truth, my dear, is that silence can be a wellspring of strength. There is a power in holding fast to your convictions, in allowing the trials of today to shape the victories of tomorrow. The quiet endurance you displayed was a testament to the divine design woven into your very being, a design that declares you are destined for greatness, no matter the storm that rages around you. Consider the river that flows steadily through rugged terrain. At times, the current may slow, and the water may seem gentle, but beneath its calm surface lies an unstoppable force that carves canyons and shapes the land over time. Your resilience is much like that river, a quiet but relentless force that overcomes every obstacle, slowly but surely altering the landscape of your life for the better. Every hardship was like a bend in the river, redirecting your course, teaching you that even when the path is not clear, there is a purpose in every twist and turn. The enemy, in their arrogance, believed that by forcing you into silence, they had broken your spirit. They mistook your quiet resolve for acquiescence, failing to grasp that the most enduring victories are won not by loud proclamations, but by the steady, resolute persistence of a heart that knows its worth. Your journey, marked by silent battles and unseen victories, is a beacon to all who feel overwhelmed by the challenges of life. It is a reminder that sometimes the most powerful acts of defiance are those that occur within. The steadfast commitment to rise above every setback and to embrace the destiny that is divinely ordained for you. There is a sacred rhythm to your endurance, a divine cadence that speaks of hope and restoration. When life seemed to cast you into the shadows, you found solace in the quiet moments of prayer and reflection, knowing that each pause was a divine interlude before the dawning of a new day. And in that sacred quietude, you discovered that every experience, every trial, every whisper of despair was intricately woven into a narrative of triumph, a narrative that would one day inspire others to trust in the process of growth and renewal. I stand before you today to remind you that your struggles have not been in vain. Every tear shed, every moment of doubt, and every silent prayer whispered into the night has contributed to the mosaic of your resilience. The very essence of who you are has been refined in the furnace of adversity, emerging as a testament to the unyielding spirit that dwells within you. The world may have tried to silence your light, but it is in the stillness that your radiance is most profound, a beacon that calls forth those who have yet to realize the magnitude of their own strength. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Let your journey be a living parable, a story of unwavering hope, and the divine strength that comes from knowing you are cherished by a power far greater than any earthly force. You are the living proof that the path to true greatness is paved not with noise and clamor, but with the gentle, persistent heartbeat of a soul that refuses to be diminished. In every moment of quiet fortitude, you are rewriting the narrative of your life, turning trials into triumphs and despair into unshakable confidence. There will be days when the burdens feel too heavy, when the storms seem endless, and the night stretches on without end. But remember the mighty oak that grew from that humble seed, the river that carved its way through stone, and the quiet strength that resides in the depths of your being. Each moment of stillness is not a defeat, but an opportunity to gather the strength that will propel you forward into the light of a new dawn. The adversaries of your past may continue to linger in the recesses of memory, their voices echoing with the misguided belief that they once held power over your destiny. But let it be known that their influence is nothing compared to the steadfast conviction that now courses through your veins. You have learned that real power is not measured by the fleeting victories of those who operate in the darkness, but by the enduring light that emanates from a soul that has tasted the sweetness of perseverance and emerged victorious. In this grand tapestry of life, every thread of suffering, every line etched with pain, contributes to a picture of immeasurable beauty and strength. Your journey is a living testament to the truth that the trials you have endured are but the prelude to the radiant chapter of your destiny. And as you continue to walk this path, may you always be reminded that your worth is not determined by the challenges you face, but by the relentless spirit that overcomes them. So, as you stand at the crossroads of despair and hope, let your heart be emboldened by the knowledge that you are part of a divine plan, a plan that transforms every hardship into a stepping stone toward glory. Your quiet endurance is a force that transcends the temporary clamor of worldly struggles. It is a silent, potent energy that, when unleashed, moves with a purpose so profound that no force on earth can halt its progress. Trust in that divine orchestration of your life. Embrace each moment of silence as a precursor to the explosion of life's most vibrant victories. And know that as you continue your journey, you are not alone. There is a power that watches over you, that guides you, and that turns every setback into an opportunity for unprecedented growth. In the stillness of your soul lies a force that is both unyielding and gentle, a paradox of strength that, once awakened, can move mountains and calm the fiercest storms. As you carry forward this legacy of resilience, remember that the trials you have faced are merely the groundwork upon which your destiny is built. Your journey is a sacred narrative of transformation, a story where every whisper of doubt is replaced by the roar of an unstoppable spirit. It is the quiet yet resolute movement of a soul that knows its true worth, a soul that, despite the chaos of life, remains anchored in the eternal promise of hope and renewal. In closing, let this be a reminder to all who find solace in the quiet battles of life. Your strength is not defined by the noise of your struggles, but by the profound silence that follows, a silence filled with hope, with promise, and with the unyielding conviction that you are destined for greatness. May you always hold fast to that truth, for it is the very essence of who you are, a beacon of light, a testament to resilience, and an embodiment of divine power that no force can ever diminish. This was never about retribution. No schemes, no desperation, no battle for revenge was needed. Those who hold firm, who refuse to yield, who trust in the inevitability of justice, always see the tide turn. What was rightfully theirs returns, not through force, not through pleading, but because it was always destined to be so. The struggle did not weaken them, it refined them. Every scar, every hardship, every moment of endurance became the foundation upon which they now stand, unshaken, undefeated. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially, far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. The enemy had believed they were in control. They had written a story where they held all the power. But the final page had never belonged to them. The truth had been waiting, patient, unwavering. And now, as the dust settled, only one thing remained standing: those who were always meant to rise. Every challenge you faced was meant to break you, yet it only revealed the depths of your strength. You were never fragile. You were never powerless. The shadows that conspired against you underestimated the force within you, mistaking endurance for submission. Every obstacle was not a roadblock, but a redirection. Every betrayal was not a defeat, but a lesson in wisdom. Every seeming setback was merely preparation for the appointed time. Justice does not adhere to human impatience. It arrives with precision, never early, never late. Those who thought they held dominion over your destiny never understood that their influence was fleeting. The wounds they inflicted were real, but they did not define you. Their victories were nothing more than passing illusions. You, however, are anchored in something far greater. That is why you withstood the storm. That is why you rise. That is why, in the end, you prevail.